Hi everyone, how are you? Welcome to the Soul Truth Conversation Show. We are on episode 12, I think we are today. Yay! So we're just I've got the most amazing guest here for you today, who I'm just going to take a second and introduce because she's so yummy and amazing. Aww. So I would like to welcome you to Natasha. And Natasha is an intuitive business mentor, actor and healer, working with conscious soul-led entrepreneurs who are literally ready to like step up into their next level of impact for life, love, leadership and business and all the things. And she works like her magic, so to say, is she works with the ancient wisdoms of the Akashic Records to support her clients in like overcoming whatever is standing in their way of them having a thriving, abundant business so they can literally have the life that they absolutely desire. So I love everything that you do. I love you, Natasha, you know that. So welcome to the show. Thank you for being here.
Oh, thank you, Claire, for inviting me. I'm so excited to have another chat with you and to do it recorded. So
all over again. Yeah, so we're just dropping. Natasha and I, we met about 2 weeks ago up in London in person.
Today.
Yeah. Oh yeah, because it is 2 weeks today, of course.
Tomorrow.
Tomorrow, yeah. And it was like we could actually like touch each other and just like, yay, sister in. And we didn't know each other before this. And there was a group of 6 of us that met. Yeah. And there was something about Natasha, like I just felt very at home with Natasha. Sorry, we go way off piece now, but let's go for it. Like I just felt very at home with Natasha. It's almost like I don't always feel that comfortable meeting people that I don't really know. And it was like out of these 6 people, Natasha just made me feel very at home before she'd even like spoken. And I don't know if anybody has ever experienced this, where you just know, like, I don't know, the energy is just there, isn't it? You just feel something. And I know, Natasha, you felt something very similar, didn't you?
Oh yeah, completely. I mean, what a mind-blowing afternoon that was with all of you. I mean, it was incredible, but just really, I don't know, we kind of said, there was something that was said and it was like, I think we both thought, we know each other. And then someone said, I feel like you two know each other. And I was like, well, we know each other. And it's like, well, I don't know, there's something about, and we were talking, weren't we, yesterday? And it was like, we had quite similar lives and upbringings and everything else. And it's like we are, it was just uncanny, really. It's like, it is those moments. It doesn't happen a huge amount, but when it does, when you meet someone that you just, it's like, I know you. It's like, it's beautiful. And it was just so magical. And to think I've only known you for less than 2 weeks feels a bit odd, but here we are.
I know. So Natasha and I were like, we need to get talking. So we jumped on a call already last night. And then I had a cancellation on the show. And I said to Natasha, oh my God, I'd love it if you could come on the show. And I said, I'll get my online business manager to contact you with dates and stuff. And then I was like, hold on, I got space tomorrow. Do you want to jump in? She was like, yeah, of course. So we've already had like a yummy conversation together in terms of our personal lives. And yeah, we had such a similar, like, it's almost like we've walked in the same pathway. It is kind of uncanny. Like, I think there's only 2 years between us, even down to our school grades. Like, we both had the same like school grades all the way across the board, C's, like, and oh my God, it was just like freaking us out. We were just like, this is so amazing. So I had to have Natasha on the show. So yes, we've previously spoken yesterday, but what I'd love to get into today is a couple of things. Like Akashic Records keep coming up for me. So I'd love to have a conversation around that. And the truth behind, like, you really help soul-led entrepreneurs. I would love to know, what is the truth behind a soul-led entrepreneur? What does that mean for you? So as our listeners are listening right now, they may not realize that they're a soul-led entrepreneur, or maybe they inspire to be a soul-led entrepreneur. What does that actually mean? And then we'll move on from there.
Oh, that's a great question, because I think it's something that we kind of know, that we like, oh, that just kind of sparks my attention. What does it mean? But for me, it's really someone who really wants to come back to themselves, who knows deep within their soul that they're here for something bigger. It's like, it's a burning flame that just won't be put out, won't be dampened. You might try, but it's like, no, it keeps coming back. And there is just this desire to really come to the forefront and be part of the change and the movement of change. And for the betterment of humanity, betterment for the planet, betterment for all of us. And it's just this shift in consciousness. It's like, we know there's something more than the existence that we're all like kind of living out. There's just something, and it's, you might not know exactly what your purpose or your mission is, or how you want to leave a legacy behind, but you know you want to do that. You know you want to do it. And that's a bit like me. It's like, I've always known I'm here for bigger things. I haven't always known what that is. And it's like step by step, like that journey, that part of me has just unfolded. So it's for people who really identify that. And it's like, sometimes that can keep us really stuck, because if we're like, don't have the exact answer, like people, and you know, people are like not, it's difficult to have the drive or the confidence and the courage to really go for it when you don't know what you're going for. So that's who I help, really.
That sounds amazing. So how do you help them come back and find that, like, within themselves?
Yeah, so I think that is mainly through the Akashic Records, because, and through the coaching I do, and the activations and the meditations that I do with my clients, because for me it's ultimately coming back to who we are at soul level. It's like that's really truly about what it means for me to come home. It's like when I get to know myself so intimately on a human level, which can be interesting, but also then on a soul level, because that is our energetic blueprint. That is who we are on the energetic side. And I love to work with both aspects. That for me is my joy. I can see the energy, I can see where things are energetically moving, but I can also really identify with the human aspect of the ego, and like the action-based, what we need to do actually to manifest like the desires and the dreams that we have. So they're no longer dreams, they're actual actualizations in our life. So yeah, that's really,
I love that. And this is where we're similar as well, because every time I jump on a call with a client, like the first thing I say is like, you know, there is two parts of you. There is this energetic side, you know, the source, power, God, universe, whatever you want to call it. But then we also have this human. And I was coaching a client through today, and just like, don't keep giving your power away to your power. Like, people see our power as outside, as spiritual, as God, as something outside of themselves. And it's just like, do you know what? If it wasn't for this human in this body, like, you would just be source energy. You'd just be love. Like, you wouldn't be able to have the experience. And I love what you're saying then about the human, because I also believe in the human. I love the frigging human, because if not, we'd all just be source energy. And it's like, where does that go? Where's the fun in that? Absolutely. We get to have the both. And the human, I think, actually is probably the piece that trips us up. First of all, I believe, you know, women are, we're talking about, I don't know, do you work with women and men, or just women?
Yeah, I'm predominantly with women, but I love working with men. Like, I really do. I think, you know, when men can really tap into that energetics element and the divine feminine and the divine wisdom as they do their masculine energy, I love that. I love that.
I love that. So my partner's very much like that. It's a really beautiful journey. So we say person. So can't remember what I was saying now, but it just made me think. I always talk women, and I'm like, hold on, do you work with men as well? But yeah, it's like, you know, owning that part of the human. Like, yes, this is really important. This is what I help people connect back to in the first place. But then it's owning this piece of the human. Like, I'll give you an example. Over the last 48 hours, I've created 6 offers, and I've just gone through it. I heard it, downloaded it, went with it, didn't think about it, put it out there, sold all these offers. And I realized that's who I am as a human. I'm just right, something drops, let's go. And the kids know me for that. And they're just like, oh, what crazy things mom coming up with now. It's like the girls were rearranging a bedroom a few months back, and then they wanted this unit. And I was like, okay, let me see where it's at. It was IKEA or something unit, and it was certain measurements. And I was like, hold on. Oh, there's one in the country. It's in Cardiff, which is like hour and a half drive away for us. It was about 5 o'clock at night, and the bedrooms all been starting to rearrange. They didn't want their wardrobe anymore. My dad came up to help them. And I was like, Dad, we need this unit. There's only one left in the country. Like, we need to have this to complete the bedroom. They're open. You got like two hours, hour and 45 minutes. Like, Dad, could you jump in the car? Could you take the girls? Could you go and get this unit?
Brilliant.
And they're just like, what? Yeah, okay then. And they went there, and this unit wasn't on the shelf. They'd gone all this way. They went to the tills to speak to somebody, and this person had bought it since they were traveling and actually returned it because it didn't fit. and or they didn't want it for some reason, and the guy went, it's just returned, and they bought it and it comes home and went.
Wow.
My family understand that. So in the business as well, like you say, when you own your human and just go, I'm a splenic authority, like human design, so it's like you hear it once, act on it. If you don't, it's gone. And what I think, when you can really own your human, own your soul, and trust in the power and put the two together, you just move mountains.
Yeah, totally. I totally agree. And like what you said as well about, you know, we often put that something outside of ourselves, and it's all within us. It's like when we, that's the thing, is like when we come home to us, we realize that we hold it all within us. And like, stop giving your power away, as you said, like stop giving it to other things, to this higher authority that we think is controlling and pulling all the strings of our lives. And actually we're the ones pulling the strings and really directing our lives. And it's like, when we really take ownership of that, yeah, there's like muddy waters and there's like challenges and there's like little bumps in the road, sure, but then we have to navigate that. And do we give our power away again at that point, or do we become even more connected to who we are and who we are at soul level, so we can take action? That means we can navigate that challenge as smoothly as possible. It might not be easy, but we can do it smoothly. And I think that that's something that, you know, I really used to used to really challenge me. It used to struggle, like I used to struggle with. It was like, when everything's going great, then cool, I can do anything. I'm invincible. I'm a magician. But as soon as something comes in my way, and I'm like, okay, and that's what I've really been learning and understanding, and how the energetics play out, and then how we apply that to business. Wow, we get to do what we love. Like, and we get to have an impact in the world and leave a legacy. Like, what's better than that?
And I love what you were saying. So I came up with a scenario for my client the other day, is like, you know, you got a choice. You're going from here to a destination, and you got a choice to just jump in the car, fly down the motorway, highway if you're in the States type thing, like just fly down this direct straight road. Everyone's going the same way, get there and go, great, I got there. Yeah, but what was the view like? You know, did you have any decisions to make? No, I just got there. Great, you got there. Now what? Or you could take the scenic route that's going to take you longer. You're going to have to make decisions. Do I go left at the crossroads, right at the crossroads? Like, oh my gosh, there's a truck, you know, sheep are running across the road. How are we going to get through this? But then you'll turn a corner and you'll be hit with this beautiful, like you say, when the moments are all going right, you get to look at this beautiful view and you get to experience life. And at the end of the day, I believe that our purpose is just to experience like the high level purpose for everybody is to experience life on this earth. And I think so many people just want to get to the destination, want to fly down the highway to get there, that they actually, if they knew the beauty of going on the scenic route, which is where the human will definitely take us and we're experienced, yes, it gets a bit bumpy, but there's also the most breathtaking views, because wherever there's a highway, there's hardly any view. Like, yes, you're going to get there faster, but what for? So I love that you're saying that. So you're leading me right in now to the juicy question. Well, I love this juicy question anyway. Is Akashic Records have been coming up for me. They've been an interest, and I actually bought a program to take myself through the trainings and stuff. I'm not trained in any of my stuff, but whenever I enjoy something human design, I'm like absorb into it. But weirdly, I could never play the video. So I paid for this course. Even to this day, I can't sign up. I can't, I can't bother now. I'm like done. But I knew there was something behind Akashic Records that I really want to understand. What I would love to know is, first of all, what are the Akashic Records? Like, why do you use them? How do they benefit your clients? And how, like, if I came to you, what would that experience be? Let's just Akashic Records.
Let's just do it all. So,
let's do it all.
Firstly, I'll break that down because those are big questions in themselves. But like, what are the Akashic Records? Well, that's like vast and infinite as far as I see it. But like for me, because I've always been like, I've got to be able to understand things logically, like how does something work? So when I'm working with energies, I mean, I used to be in IT, I used to be in corporate world, I used to be project manager, like running like big project rollouts, and oh my goodness. So like for me, it's all about logic and understanding. So when I started playing in the energetic realms, I'm a bit like, what's all this stuff? But
I can't see it, like, I can't touch it, like
see it, can't touch it. But then there's a knowing, there's body knowing. And I think that that's where we know that, like, literally we get lifted up and put in a different direction, and we're like, you need to go that way, love. And it's like, and I'm always curious, and if there's a string to pull, I'll always pull it, but I have to be able to understand things. And so that's what I love about the Akashic Records, because it is out there, but actually it's really quite simple. Because when we think about everything being energy, everything we do, think, say, act, we know that it's energy. We know that when we put energy out there, we can't destroy energy. We know this scientifically, but we can transform it. So we can go from feelings of sadness to joy, from peace, from like, feeling a bit unsettled to feeling peaceful. And we can turn those energies around quite quickly. So if we can't destroy energy, then where does it go? It has to go somewhere. Has to, like, it's like in the cosmos. So this is what we call the Akashic Records. So it's basically like the internet of our existence, of our life, from the moment our soul was born. So when we think about us, if we think about us coming into seed existence, into soul existence, it's like a little mini explosion, if you like, a bit like the Big Bang, but just for us. And we hold a very unique, specific energetic resonance and blueprint. And that is our soul. And we're all unique and different, all 8 billion souls of us on the planet. No one has exactly the same. It's like similar, and there'll be similarities, but we have to find our own uniqueness. So it holds that information about who we are at soul level. So that's the first beauty of it, because it gives us an insight into how we want to navigate life, given our expression of who we are on the energetic realms, and how we then channel that through into the expression here on the physical plane. So that's the first bit.
Can I ask a question?
Of course you can.
So if we've got this blueprint that's solely for us, how specific does that come out? And if it's not like overly specific, are we given kind of like an area for our blueprint, and then the human is allowed to say how that's expressed or how that's taken out? Or is it like, this is your blueprint, this is what you're meant to do, this is how you're going to do it, and then the human aligns with the soul and moves? Or is it a case of, this is your direction, but you can use your human in a way in which it feels good?
So,
which way around?
Yeah, I'd say both. We always have free will and choice as a human. That is first and foremost. Like, basically, everything we do comes first. There is no higher authority. Even when we think of our higher self, our soul, our energetic frequency, whatever we want to call it, like, we have free will fundamentally. So we get to choose. But what I've come to understand about who I am is that I'm always learning. I'm always understanding the nuances. And so I kind of think of the Akashic Records, a lot of people think of it as a library. Yeah. So for me, that gives me this image of a closed space, like all these books, and everything is written out and everything is done, and then that's complete, right?
Yeah. Go and find your book, which one's got your name on, this is your direction.
This is everything that you've experienced in the past, in past lives, ever since your soul came into existence. For me, I see it as an ever-expanding space. So if we think of the universe as ever-expanding, there's space beyond the space of the boundaries of where we are right now. So there's always information that's being filtered through. So that's why consciousness is rising. That's why we are becoming more consciously evolved, because as we're given more access to more information as the universe expands, we can understand more. Because if we could understand it all, I think we'd explode. Like, I think we would literally self-combust. I would anyway.
I think it wasn't that long ago that we were still hunting down, like, our food and things like there wasn't that long ago, in the big scheme of things. Absolutely. It's like, well, how could you go from that to actually where it just right.
So it gives us the signposts, and then we have choice as to how we want to do that. So a lot of people might come to me and say, well, I want to know what my purpose is here on life. And I'm like, well, you have choice. Like, I can show you, like, through the blueprint, how you want to, if that's what you want to do, how you want to express that to become in alignment with your soul, so that you can bring that into fruition. You ultimately have.
Does that have an effect on how you feel as a human? like if you chose to do it one way and that wasn't necessarily the way, I know that's a bit wrong wording, but would that not feel good for you?
Yeah.
Or if you did it another way, it would feel good for you. So do you then drive and go, okay, this is my purpose, and then my human's going to go, I could do it this way, but that really doesn't feel good for me, or I would do it this way and it would feel good for me? Is that where it comes into alignment?
Yeah. So if we do the stuff so that it is in a way that is in alignment with our soul, things will feel easy and in flow. So we've all had those moments where we're like, oh, this is just easy. This has just worked. And like, oh, where's all this stuff? It's like this tap's been turned on. And we're like, I can't keep up with the tap. It's overflowing. And we're like going. And then what we do is most of us will go, oh, something's come in the way. The tap feels like it's been turned off. Oh crap, I better stop. I've done something wrong. Throw it all out and start again. Yeah. And this is the mistake that we make over and over, and it is exhausting. Yeah, it truly is exhausting. And I hands up, done it so many times, it's ridiculous. Yeah. So when we understand how we want to express ourselves through who we are at the soul level, we can start to figure out the things that feel in alignment. And everything in any given day, week, month, year is impacted by our circumstances. So how we do that and how we navigate will shift and change. So sometimes we'll feel like we're slowing down a bit, and it's just that moment to go, oh, okay, am I doing something that's out of alignment with who I am, or is this just a moment to pause? And if we stay open and curious, we'll be given that answer, and we may want to tweak, course correct, just shift something, because a new opportunity might come in and we'll go, oh, that sounds amazing. I'm like so up for that. Every cell in my body is like zinging. I have to do it. And then we get further down the line and it's like, yeah, that wasn't an expression of who we are.
Right. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But we can also do things, but then ask, how do I want to do it? Yeah. So we could do anything really.
Right.
And go, well, how do I navigate that? And we can live in alignment and we can stay in flow. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. So my question would be like, well, how do you, so say, you know, I come to you, and because I still think we're forever asking ourselves, like, what's our purpose? What's our thing? And it's just like, so if I came to you as a client and I'm just like, okay, like, Natasha, tell me my purpose, like go and get my book off the library shelf, like show me what is that thing, kind of thing. Like how does that work? How do you know?
Yeah,
like for example, do you know what my blueprint is? Do you know, how does this work?
So I can ask and inquire in the Akashic Records as to like, what is your soul power? Like that's what I call it. So it's like when we know what our superpower is, our soul power, and what that energetic resonance is, then we can do more of that. We're all of everything. So there's no like right and wrong way. We're all of everything. But as we start to do things in a way that is more in alignment with who we are, that's when we step into the flow. So what I'm always curious about when somebody comes to work with me is like, what lights you up? Mm-hmm. What do you know already? Like what is the magic? What's the sweet spot? When have you found that before? How do you know when that is? If we put the brain aside, thinking about it, what is that? And those are the clues to where we start. Right. And then it's like, well, how do we then start to express ourselves through that? And then it's a journey. Like when I first started out on this road, you know, I had no intention of doing anything that was energetic. I was doing mindfulness coaching when I left the corporate, and then I was doing a bit of energy work. But I was doing mindfulness coaching, and I loved that because my quest started with, I live in crazy busy London. I'm like literally on a hamster wheel, like running, flying off it, picking myself up, dusting myself. All right, just get back on it again then, shall I? Okay. And repeat. And I got to a point where I'm like, there has to be another way of doing this. Yeah. There just has to be. So that's where I sort of came into mindfulness and that side. That still threads through a huge part and portion of what I do. But I never had any intention. If someone had said to me 6 years ago, you're going to be working with the Akashic Records, first I said, what the hell is that? I don't even know what you're talking about. Yeah. are you mad? Like, that's
Yeah.
the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard. Of course I will never do that. So it's like these things appear once we start to come into alignment and start to take action that's more in tune with us and that lights us up, things start to pop in, because our humanness can't cope from going from here, from not knowing, to like, this is everything, now go do everything. We can't cope with that. So it's a step-by-step evolvement. And that's why when I work with my clients, I love going on a journey. Most of my clients work with me for 6 months or a year, because I love that evolvement of like, who are you becoming? Like, what's this journey evolving into? What are the things that are getting in your way? How do you overcome it? How do you step back? How do you navigate this? How do you navigate that? And that's what I love to do. And that's what the work.
Do you see like a clear path for your clients? Like, how do you see things? Do you hear things? Like, do you pick up on people's energy? Do you like read people? Like, how does that come across?
Yeah, I think sometimes in different ways. But what I generally see is when my clients are telling me like, oh, this is what's going on in my life, I can see all the dots light up.
Right.
And then I'm like, there's something over here, tell me about that. And they'll be like, what are you talking about? And I'll be like, there's something over here, tell me about that. And it's like, nothing to do with it. I'm like, yeah, there is. So we bring that into the fold. So I do a lot of my work with the Akashic Records through meditation and activation. So, and then I'm purely guided by source. I surrender all of my humanness and I'm guided towards something, and I'm guided towards a past life or some energetic resonances that clients have, and it's a release. So we basically will reprogram the Akashic Records, if you like. So we'll take one energetic resonance and we'll transform it. But then it's about
what do you mean by energetic resonance? Like somebody who doesn't know this speaks, like what is that? Resonance. What,
so like
so what would
for instance, like we are repeating a pattern of judgment.
Yeah.
Like, and that's what we're doing, because like, if we think about history, like things haven't been very kind. So we've taken things in past lives, if we believe in past lives, and we've gone through a challenging life, and we're afraid of being judged because we've been hung, we've been like, I don't know, burnt at the stake, we've been removed from our community and left to fend for ourselves, whatever that is. So we write this little piece of like software into us that is an energetic resonance of judgment, and we start to play that out, because we go, I don't want to ever be judged like that again, because it means certain death. But what we do is we actually become very resonant to it. So we're like, we play it out lifetime after lifetime after lifetime. So when we start to look at that and we start to change, we can rewrite it in the Akashic record, but then we need to embody it. We need to really let that go within the physical body, so we can clear it in the Akashic records, and then allows us to start making new and different choices going forwards, because we've cleared some of that crap out the path that's in front of us, that we've been like going bit of judgment here and like clambering over it, or it's like a rock, or it's like a mountain, and it feels insurmountable. What we do is we clear it out, so you can go, okay, well, this feels a bit easier, the judgment's coming up, but okay, what do I choose to do differently now in response to that? And that's how we recode it in the physical and the
and reduce the reaction of that stuff. So this is like, I've just got to work out whether I wrote this and posted it, or whether I've downloaded this post and not posted it, but this will kind of sink into exactly what we're saying. So the other day, I know you know because I told you, but I experienced in my body, I was getting to this belief like, it never happens for me, doesn't matter what I do, I get hurt. And I was like, oh, there's a limited belief, and I always love to dive into them. So I started tapping and moving through this, and I actually saw a guy working in the fields. It was slavery time, and it was definitely a past life, and I was told it was my uncle. And anyway, I went through some stuff, and I really managed to free him of that pain. But what he represented was hard work, sacrifice, and pain. And he took all of that on. It's like he took one for the team, like for my entire family, generations before and after. And I was there to help him heal because he had lots of cuts and stuff on his back. He had no shirt on. So I just helped him to heal the pain. And I was the one that released him and freed him from the slavery. And I literally saw him run over to his family. There was a wife and 2 children, like in a huddle up against a hedge. And he went over and I heard the words like, love heals all. So within the family now, the love was healing all of that. And it made me realize, and then this post came out. Let me just see whether I did actually post it or I'm about to post it.
If not, you should.
If not, I should. Here we go. I did post it. 2 reactions, like from Simon and my online business manager, but it doesn't matter. I just put this. I said, when you fully know your truth, you get to have what you want easy. Your ancestors already did enough. They sacrificed, they worked hard, they felt the pain to get what they needed. They did all that for you to learn the lessons from them to create a different story moving forward. You get to have what you need and desire effortlessly. You owe it to yourself, your family, and others to start listening to those lessons of your ancestors and change them. I know my ancestors would feel pretty pissed right now, knowing that if I was continuing with the hardship, they did what they did for us to have it differently. But like you say, when that's held in the body and that's all we know, then we continue the hardship. When ancestors, spirit and all, are looking back and going, we had it hard, so you don't have to. Like, so release that hardship. And when you know your truth, you choose differently, and you know that you get to have what you want effortlessly. And so it's about rewriting those stories and not continuing with the embodiment of past lives, ancestors and things like that, because
it's just, you know, we are all doing it to some degree or another. That's why we're still in the human form, because we've chosen to come back to go, okay, this time we're going to do it differently. And again, I think that's why consciousness is rising so quickly and people are shifting and knowing that there is a different way and working more in the energetics. And that's what I love about the world we live in today, is that there are so many different modalities of this energetic work. The Akashic Records is just one way of like how we see it, how we view it, but it's all together. There is no separation from any of it. And so we don't need to do it all. That's what first and foremost, because I know that sometimes there is that tendency to go, oh, I need to do everything. Like find the thing that really works for you and releases you from those past experiences, those past lives, because you're totally right. We owe it to them. We owe it to our generational lineage, and we also owe it to the future lineage, because if we rewrite it, then they change it. So this is why I think, you know, us now as this generation, because we're doing, you know, all this work to release it. I think that's sometimes why we feel like, oh, this is hard, but it doesn't have to be hard. You know, it can be effortless. I think that is a spiritual misinformation, if you like, as well. It's like, oh, it's going to be really hard and it's going to be treacherous, and that's still the old paradigm of things. Like we really do get to have it easy, but we've got to choose that path, and we owe it to our previous versions of ourselves as well, like in our previous lives, I think. And that was such a powerful conversation when you shared that with me. It was just like, of course, like, but it's like we've got to get it, we've got to feel that. Really powerful.
And it made me think, like, I can't remember the film, but Simon and I watched the film the other day, and it was all around, you know, the era of women's rights and what those women went through for us to have our rights. And yet we still sometimes act in the way that we're on the picket line and we're still fighting for what we want. And it's just like, we don't need to fight anymore for what we want. They fought for us, but now we get to choose that things are different. And I think it's raising that level of consciousness as well, because I still see a lot of women stuck in this victim mode, and that they have to force or they have to fight for what they want. And I think when we truly come back to where we were talking about the 2 elements of us, this source power that runs through us in this human, when we really understand the truth of this power is what created all and creates all, is within us, that transforms us into the creator. And when we become the creator, we do create. And I think a lot of people who aren't as aware of this yet, like they don't realize that they are creating everything in their reality, and therefore they stay in their victim mode. But when you know that, even if you know that you're creating the crap but so well, you'll create, if you're going through something now and it seems like a lot, this is happening, that's happening, that's happening, just know that you are an incredible creator. But maybe you're creating everything that you don't want, but a creator's a creator. And then when you start to transform that and go, well, actually, if I'm the creator, what do I want to create? Go to somebody like Natasha or myself, and we help you pull away those past experiences, those past beliefs, and everything that parents have put into us, generations, and what we've experienced and put onto ourselves, and we help just clear that out the way. We then go forward. I don't know if you've experienced this, like with your clients, is then you realize, oh my God, how much power we actually have, that we can create everything. And like you say, you turn the tap open, everything starts to come through. We get overwhelmed by the, like I said, these 6 offers that I put out in 48 hours, and they're selling off the shelves almost quicker than I can keep up with the back end of technology and that to take payments and things. That before, I used to then turn that tap off energetically, unconsciously. It's like we just think that it's going to be the mass flood and we're never going to cope, so we turn it off. I've actually this time managed to keep that energetic open and know that I will grow into this space, and one day this will become effortless to hold. Like, do you find your clients, once they work with you and they really start to understand themselves and the power, that in itself can almost become a fear, that we are so powerful? Oh my gosh, I've got this huge mission, this huge purpose, and it's like kind of overwhelming. How does that work with the Akashic Records, or how does that work, that we get to go, how do we kind of know, I guess the thing is like normalizing that this is what you were born here to do, this work, even though it might scare the crap out of you, you were born for this. And how do you help your clients hold that?
I think it can be really scary, because at every next level, there's another level of something that needs to be released, let go of, because something energetically that you weren't coming up against before, because it wasn't relevant. So it didn't come up then. And then you're like, yay, cracked that, got that, sorted that. And then you get to the next level and you're like, what the hell is that doing here?
I'm not healed enough.
So I think at that point, it is like really to breathe. It's really to say, okay, because through every challenge that there's the magic on the other side. And I don't always, but have done in the past. And, I'm really working to really get into that space that when I feel challenged, it's like to take a moment to breathe, to go, what is the magic? What am I here to learn from this? What am I here to overcome? What am I here to evolve through? And then to remember that I have got so much joy and magic in me, because the magic is laying on the other side of walking through it. And I think what all of us do is most of us do is go, oh, everything's going great. Oh, there's a challenge. Okay, let's stop. Let's just turn it all off. And let's just wait until something comes along, and then we can we go backwards. And I've done that before as well. And it's like, it's tiring and it's exhausting, as we talked about. But it's like, how do we allow ourselves and give ourselves permission to grow, to be expansive? And I think, that's something I think collectively we also need to overcome, especially as women. It's like, it's only recently that we've been able to, not so long since we've been able to vote, since we've been able to have a bank account, that's in my lifetime. I mean, that's crazy. And so no wonder we come up with so many money blocks and so many money things that kind of standing in our way, because it's not been that long, and we still hold that energetic blueprint. But what I do truly believe is that when we heal that for ourselves, we start contributing to the collective on a very different frequency, even if it's a tiny bit. So never, ever underestimate the change that you make, even if it feels like a tiny step. If there are 10, 20, 30 people, 10,000, 20,000, 30,000 people doing this tiny little one person doing this one tiny little shift, think about the collective and the cumulative shift in the consciousness that we're contributing to. So never underestimate the change that you are contributing to on that level, and consciousness 100%. Shifts. And that's because now so many of us are waking up. So many of us are ready to go, oh, I need to heal some stuff now. Let's go, let it go, and let's change the energetic resonance of it. Why we're seeing such a shift in consciousness, and almost like why we're seeing the polarity of that, because with everything, like when we're waking up, there's also people that really don't want to wake up, and they want to slam the lid shut tightly and close it off completely, because that the other side of that is far too scary. So that's why we're seeing so much polarization now. So don't worry about that. Don't allow that to knock you off your path. Just know that that's normal, and it's not easy. I really struggle with that, because for me, the planet and humanity is one of my biggest drivers. So when I see everything struggling so desperately, I have to remind myself that if I contribute the healing, if I contribute the light, then I'm contributing to something different that's possible on the other side.
Yes, 100%. I love that so much. It's funny, I was having a conversation with a couple of women the other day, and I kind of felt like, you know, I was the odd one out. And because of the beliefs that I had around money, and I really believe, like, rather than just keep giving people fish, like, teach them how to fish for themselves.
Yes.
And they got very drawn into, you know, the meaning behind what they do, the intention behind what they're talking about is very, very heart driven. But actually what they were doing was looking at the negative, looking at you know, government and all these trying to shift and change the governments. And I'm like, you cannot change what is already up and running and built momentum over these amount of times. Like, but if you start to create new, and you start to shine the light over here, rather than trying to focus on the negative of what's happening here and how we should be shifting this, that keeps us very limited. And still, where is the energy flowing? Even with good intentions, you're flowing and shining light on the negative. It's like, well, why don't you just, you know, turn that light off? And I think a lot of people see that as ignoring it and not seeing it as a problem. It's like, the reason why we're shining light over here is to take the spotlight away from what doesn't feel good, take the light away from the systems and the control and the power, to shine the light over here. And it kind of, I don't think, went down very well, because it's almost like you can't ignore this. The conversation was around money always, and you know, it was like all these people with billions, like, why don't they just give it to all the people that need it? And I'm kind of like, but why do they have to? Why do you believe that just because they're rich that they should be paying the poor? You know, because that then stops people from having more and more wealth, because they're like, well, if I need to have it and I've just got to give everything away like a charity, people are going to go, well, what's the point if I end up, you know, not fulfilled, or, you know, I'm doing this for myself and I have to give it away. And I believe people are at choice. Those who want to give it away will give it away. Those that don't want to, they don't have to.
No.
And it's just,
I was just gonna say, we don't empower people that way. Like, we don't want to fix it for people, we want to empower them. That's the fish, you know, analogy. It's like, if you teach people how to fish, then they can survive for themselves. But if you try to keep doing it for everyone, firstly, you'll end up depleted, you'll end up exhausted, you'll end up with no money in the bank, if you're using that example. And then there's no more, then it's done. And then when you can't do it anymore, who's gonna do it for them? And then that's the end of that. So we want to empower people, and this is something that I truly believe. Like, one of the things I often say is, like, we're leaders leading leaders. And it's no longer like the leaders are at the forefront. It's like we all stand together. It's like, I say to my clients all the time, it's like, I'm just a couple of steps ahead of you. Like, as I learn, you get to learn everything I learn. As you learn, I will learn. I'll be like, oh my gosh, wow, look at that. Look at what you did. And it will bring something for me. So never underestimate, like, the co-creation that we're all doing, whatever we're doing. If we have this, like, let's stand together, it's like I created like a circle of light movement, and it's like it's like we hold each other's hand and we stand in circle and we walk with each other forward. And this is how we light the world. So it's like, where do you want your energy to go? And I think, actually, you know, we say love wins every time, the light shines every time. And this is, you know, this is what we're trying to do now, is like, we are giving that voice that we don't want anymore, by standing firmly for what we do want going forwards. We're saying, we don't want that, we don't agree with it, this is where it's at. And so for many of us, and the work that you do and the work that I do, is like, it's shining in that direction. Come and join me if you want to. Like, you're a choice. If you like, if it feels like, oh, this is interesting, this gives me a bit of tingles, or maybe there's something there for me, then follow that intuition, follow that heart, follow that guiding light that's leading you in a different direction, and see where it takes, step by step. Allow it to unfold. It's a journey. It's like you said, you know, the beauty is on the journey, and it's such a rush. I want to enjoy every moment of what I'm doing, of, you know, dancing and in the joy, dancing in the magic, going, oh, look at this, oh my goodness, wow, look at this. And that's the life I want to lead. And if I, you know, end up going and hanging up my boots with that energy behind me, I will be leaving my legacy, and that's enough.
Yes, 100%. So I have one last question just to roll this up. So I know there's lots of women out there that are chasing their purpose, and they want to know their blueprint, and they, you know, almost think that it's something huge that they're looking for, and this is what's going to define them, and this is what's going to bring them their worth, and this is going to, you know, solve all their problems and things like that. I've actually been telling my clients recently to push that aside, because it's like the purpose is something outside of them, and they're wanting somebody to tell me what my purpose is, and they're forever doing this and never finding it. Have you experienced, and when you speak to your clients around purpose, that I think a lot of people that are moving through are like, oh, I'm meant for the stage, and all right, I want to be on the stage, do you know what I mean? But it's like, it doesn't always have to be this big world changing, because then you're trying to change something, but like we were saying, lots of little changes. Like, we are here as a collective. It's just finding that little piece of yourself and knowing. Takes me to a story that's just come to mind. I remember there was this story, I've heard it as a story, I don't know it in real life, but this guy who was cleaning toilets, and he just like always had a smile on his face. He'd make sure they were always clean and stuff. And this guy was like, how can you're so happy cleaning toilets? And he was like, this is what God, you know, told me to do. I love it. I get to talk to people like you. I give you clean facilities. Like, it just lights me up that when you come, you know, that everything's lovely and clean, that I give you a smile, we have a quick chat, we move on. Like, and a lot of people can get really disheartened when they're like, my purpose is cleaning toilets. Like, I'm using the extremes. And it's just like, no, but I'm meant to be this world leader. How do you view purpose, and how can you, I don't want to underestimate our purposes, that's not what it is, but it's knowing that whatever lights you up, the simplest thing that lights you up is enough.
It really is. We get to choose what our purpose is. But ultimately, if we want to know what our purpose is, for me, it's about coming back to us. It's about knowing who we are, like warts and all, every corner, every inch, everything we don't want to look at and go, oh yeah, that's not so comfortable, but that's me. And we're not here to be perfect. We're not here to be perfect. We're not trying to find perfection and just love and light. We are all of everything. That means we have every single emotion under the sun. And so it is about accepting all of us, coming home to us, knowing ourselves. That for me is my purpose. It's like, but how I get to choose to express that, is my choice. It's like, I know deep within me, I love to talk. I've always been told, even from a young age, Natasha does okay at school, but she's like, she talks too much. And it's like, but then I kept quiet. So for many years, I was very much at the back of the class. And then I was like, I mustn't talk because I get into trouble.
Yeah.
And now I found my voice again. And I have to say, I quite like it.
I like it too.
So it's like, and it's okay, and it won't be for everybody, and not everybody will love what I say, and that's okay too. So it's like, but this is me, this is my truth. And when I channel and when I speak, and the levels of uncovering that I had to do, and this is the same with my clients, but we know, and it's like, I just know I have too much to share, that I stay quiet, and that for me is my outlet, which is why I love being on camera. I love chatting, I love talking to people. Community is an aspect that's very important for me. And it's who I want to be in all of that. Who do I want to be? Who am I really comfortable with when I'm speaking, when I'm talking? And it doesn't matter if other people don't find it comfortable, but who am I when I'm doing it? Who am I when I'm with my community? How does it make me feel? How does it bring out the best in me? And then how does it bring out the worst in me? And okay, what's there to look at there? Thank you very much for that shining light. And it's like, that's how we evolve. That's truly how we evolve. And that's how we stand in our purpose, bit by bit, step by step on the journey.
I love it. And it just shows you and I are absolutely on the same page. What we do is absolutely the same, but completely different.
Love it.
How we get there. But now, more talking to you, you know, in this way, I just realized, yes, we like had such similar backgrounds, but we're also on the same mission, is to bring women back to their truth, connect them back to these two relationships, to the one with the source and our human, and then just allow them to, how do you want to express that? And I always say, when you have this relationship with yourself, when you reunite back to truth, everything then just becomes an expansion of you. And I had a client called today, and she was like, oh, I wasn't sure if you talk business with your relationships. And I said, I'm all the freaking things, because what we're doing is connect you back to you, and therefore whatever comes up, whether it's, you know, is an expansion of you. So if money is coming up through at the minute, we're going to work through money. If it's business, if it's, you know, relationships, whatever's on being expanded through you is what we cover, because I work with you, you work with your client for them, and how do they get to express that? And maybe that is it. Like, if you run up our purposes, if we want to call them our blueprints, is just like, okay, we're both on the same message. Like, this message for everybody out on the collective right now is huge. It's about the relation back to yourself and being freely expressed. And then me and you get to decide, okay, well, how do I want to do that? Yeah, I want to talk a lot. I want to stages. I'm coaching calls, Voxer, like all these different ways. You're like, yeah, I love the Akashic Records, I want to move through that way. I'm like, rewind subconscious beliefs. You're doing similar, but how you do it, how I do it, but we come together as a collective. And I find, I don't know if you, here we go talking, we'll write this up, but what I tend to find sometimes is women will separate. I must know my purpose, and therefore it must be very specific to me, and it has to be, no, she's doing that, so I can't do that. I what's mine? And I've just realized through this is what's coming through, is like, you and I have almost a very similar purpose, as probably does millions on the planet, but it takes that to, like you say, this is the circle, we're in the circle of the relationship back to ourselves, we are in the circle of self expression, so we're holding that circle together. So when you look around, especially on the online space, I can't do what she's doing because she's doing that, I can't use these words, I can't have the same program as her. And it's just like, but what, rather than trying to individualize ourselves, why don't we link hands and just go, oh my god, we got the same purpose. But now how we go through that as the human is free will, free choice. Let's all,
absolutely, there's enough for everybody. If we truly believe that abundance is our right and that we can tap into it, then there's enough for everybody. And that's like, no one's taking anything away from everyone. We're just all sharing the same soup of consciousness. I had this brilliant conversation with a group of ladies last night as well about it. And it's like, No one can take away from you. Only you give away something to someone else. So come back to you and live your true purpose, what feels good for you, that lights you up, that really makes your heart sing. And when you deviate off a little bit, because you will, then just be curious and go, oh, I wonder what that was about. And how can I tune back in before you end up like completely stuck and stopping? Because when you said about, people want to categorically know, it keeps us so stuck, because we won't know until we start walking the journey and figure out the pieces of the puzzle for ourselves. And we get help and support along the way for that. But, if you are waiting to start, before you get started for the definitive answer, you will stay waiting for a very, very long time. Got to take a step.
And I think like the first stepping stone, I don't know, you'll probably say the same, but what I say with my clients is we always start off, what do you love? What do you enjoy? What makes you really happy? Start there, do more of that. Because when you're in that energy, you're open to receiving. The downloads will come, the ideas will come. It's amazing. And so it's just like one last thing. I was thinking, right, if you imagine everybody in the world and every individual all had a different message, can you imagine how hard it would be as one person to tell the world that message? So, and I think this is what we try and grasp onto, is like, what is my thing? And it's like, but what if there is a collective, that there is, like the whole message? Like, how many times on the online space have we heard somebody release a program called cash, or things like that, content cash. She got my program. And it's just like, well, what if the whole collective message is around cash? Why don't we all speak the same message? Because when otherwise our job becomes so hard, me as one in like how many billion people are on the planet, that's going to be hard work for me. But if you're saying it, I'm saying it, she's saying it, she's saying it, she's saying it, she's saying it, but we all get to say it differently, then the message becomes effortless. And I think when you were talking about the circle, we'll end it here. I've got a circle light on right now, and it just, I love that as what's coming through for me is the circle. It's the wholeness, the collective, the no loose ends. We're in this together, that we get to hold hands and move forward. Natasha, I have absolutely loved this conversation. Please tell the listeners where can they come and find you on the online space, because your work is amazing.
So you can head over to my website. Everything is on my website, www.mindbodysoulenergy.co.uk. And on Instagram, Natasha Nicole Harris. Come and be friends with me on Facebook. Send me a little message. Tell me where you've heard about me. LinkedIn, YouTube, got a YouTube channel, loads of free videos, all talking all about the Akashic Records, business energetics, all of these kind of things. So pop over there and reach out. Just send me a message.
I love
everywhere.
Cheers, everywhere. And so you should be. I love you so much. Thank you so much for being here. Everybody needs to go out and find Natasha. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
Goodbye,
everyone.
Bye.